Good afternoon, fellow punchers and loyal followers. Mickey D with you here on Friday afternoon about 3:30. Sun shining, nice bit of a breeze, beautiful out, with a few selections for tomorrow, Saturday. Another good day yesterday. Hunting Town done the business in Kilbeggan at a very juicy 10-1. And looking at the comments, a good few were on, a few missed out, but that's what happens. But I was hoping for such a performance. Philip Enrilo gave it a great ride. As I said the night before, handbrake needed to be off, which it was. Went well on the track because it's a peculiar sort of a track, Kilbeggan. And it won well, and we'll keep it again on our side, I think. Actually, when I mentioned Kilbeggan, I think of June 2003. I was racing there. What a great evening. I had a share in a horse that won Beginner's Chase, 12s and 8s. Davy Russell was in the saddle. And there was a horse running the first race called After the Ball. And the owner was sitting in the car park. He was after coming from England. He was a big builder in England. And he had a few thousand sitting in his bank account, the Bookies bank account. So he rang the bookie and he asked to put a bet on. So he had a monkey each way. He was a big gambler. His first £1,000 bet was in 1969 on the Epsom Derby, when industrial wage was only about 12 quid a week. So he was very successful early in life. So he had 500 each way on this horse, and it was returned at odds of 100-1. I'm not joking you. He never even seen the race because the car park was full. But 60k sterling he made, and he had 400 at 12-1 on our horse, and he had 400 at 8-1 without two favourites. So he had a royal night, and we didn't leave the pub the next morning until 8:20 all night long, total party. And I only bought one round of drink that cost me €23. Everything was bought. But anyway, that's Kilbeggan, a great memory. I love telling that to people because that is called bashing the bookies, and that's what we like to do. I hope it'll happen again in my lifetime with somebody sometime. But the other didn't show, so he's gone out of my radar altogether now. But it's great that we got the few pound back anyway, as a goodwill gesture from the bookies, and all wasn't lost. And the each way double that I had on, I got paid on that as well. So all in all, a grand day. I see Sabrina isn't running today, and the other one is to run at 4:45. So hopefully that might do the business, and if not, I had a nice bet there last night at 13-8 without the favourite, so hoping that we'll get money. We were out early this morning because we're heading for Chepstow and we had to get the boat over, so there was a nice little queue in the car park when I arrived, or at the bus rank I should say. Leon G was in line. Gaz C, he was from Dublin 5, he was there. He said that traffic was slow on the Long Mile Road, but he got there quick enough. Jim Morrow was down from the north. He had a couple of sheep with him. I think he was leaving them grazing for the day. Ian Lacey and Mr. Moody 45. Rallo Official was there, and Steph and Ervico arrived hand in hand. Looked like they were having a nice time, or had a nice night. Darren Seddon, he was telling everybody that he fancied a horse, Airby Will today in Sandown, and lo and behold, it was third at 66-1 after being out 80-1 during the day. So well done, Darren. I beg your pardon. I'm thinking that Darren O'Sullivan is the new man in charge of the tickets, because with the extra, I'm bringing the double and triple decker now these days, so he's in charge of the tickets, and you can't be let on unless you have a proper ticket, because he's in charge of it now, and he's the fellow with the peak cap. So it was great. We're tipping down the M5 in this morning, heading for Chepstow, and the crowd up top had the roof opened, and as their hair was flowing in the breeze, they were singing "Life in the Fast Lane," belting it out. Joe Walsh and the Eagles, good and strong. So hopefully Chepstow will be good to us today. So on to tomorrow. I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and I have something for everybody in the audience. I have a few on the flat and a couple over jumps. There's a couple of interesting horses tomorrow for me. Now I've no prices for any of these, only two. The three in Ireland I haven't. The 355 at Limerick, there's a horse there, Admirality Place. It's ran by Jessica Harrington. It's a 4-year-old out of Territories. It has only 2 lifetime runs, and his first was in Naas in 2020 for Aidan Fogarty. Went off at 80 to 1, but it only tired late, even though it finished maybe 13th or 14th. But it showed a lot of promise, I thought. Didn't run then until this year, so it must have some niggling sort of a problem. It's trained actually now by Jessica, and she had the winner of that race in Naas, Lucky Vega. It ran for the new trainer in the Cora Maiden over 7 furlongs. It was a very strong maiden. It settled just off the pace and it finished a creditable third. But the horse that was second was Boundless Ocean of Jim Bulger's, and that's rated 100. So you'd imagine that it ran a figure in the early 90s. So, and the horse that was sixth in that was Ivy League, and that won in Dundalk since. So I'd imagine that'll be favourite, and I would imagine that would win tomorrow in Limerick, 355 Admiralty Place. I've no prize for it. In the 430 then, in the next race, there's an interesting horse there for me. Now in the probable SP, I've seen that it's 8 to 1. So if it is, have a pint each way. Toshizou for Joseph O'Brien and Declan McDonough is riding it. It's a 4-year-old Galileo horse, and first time out in Leopardstown, it was third to a horse called Mason for Ger Lyons, and that ran actually for Chad Brown recently in a Group 1 in Keeneland, and it finished a nose second. So it was spotted out by Sorka de Facha there. It was running that night, and it ran very well. It won a maiden in Tipperary in July 2020, and the second was a winner since to the horse called Baseman. It had 2 fourths last year, rated 98, and it set it up nicely as a fancied horse for the Cambridgeshire, but it ran no race at all. First time out, I thought, was the time to get it. Joseph's horses are fairly forward. If it's an 8 to 1 shot or even anything over 5s, pint each way. The Vintage Crop Stakes then is at 4:45 or 4:46 in Navan. There's a horse there, Kyprios, by Aidan O'Brien and Ryan Moore. It's a 4-year-old rated 100. Now, Search for a Song is rated 115, and it has a sort of ground. But this one, if it's anything over 5s or 6 to 1, it'll be an each way bet as well. It's out of Galileo. The reason I'm following this is I backed it at 25s or something in Royal Ascot last year, and it was withdrawn in the stalls by the starter. It was very unruly, like what can happen on our bus if people get unruly out. Noreen is looking to be doing that if we need to do it. But it won first time out. It likes top of the ground. It's entered in several Group 1s this year. So I know first time out is risky, but with risk you get reward. A mile 6 first time out is maybe, I don't know, but I think we could take a gamble. We're winning a few pounds this week, and we could take a gamble with a 1 point win on that. The 3 o'clock on Sandown, a favourite. Anyone that knows me long enough knows that my favourite horse, or one of my favourites, is running tomorrow. Nube Negra, Dan and Harry Skelton, an 8-year-old. It loves fast ground, runs well fresh. Didn't run in Cheltenham onto the ground that day. It was an unlucky loser, I thought, the previous year in Cheltenham in the Champion Chase to put the kittle on. It's rated 167. Its closest rival is Grenadine. Both of them are 6 to 4 favourites. Grenadine is £2 lower at 165. Grenadine won this last year when it beat Altior after being fourth in the Champion Chase. And it hasn't been seen since a very disappointing run at the Leopardstown at the Dublin Racing Festival, when it was way behind Chacampur Swar. I'm on Nube Negra at 6 to 4, and if that Admiralty Place is short as well, you could do a double. The big race of the day is the Grade 3 365 Gold Cup, won by Potterman controversially last year after Enrilo threw it away. Kitty's Light was the unlucky horse last year. It was and has been second in the Scottish Grand National recently. It ran it last year in this race of 139. It's 145 now. But the doubt about her or him is it's out in Nathaniel, and all its best races are cut on the ground. And it would have been geared up for the Scottish Grand National, and this is sort of a bonus sort of territory they're in. Enrilo has been trained specifically for the race by Paul Nichols, and we know when he targets a race with a special horse, that it can come up trumps. So Enrilo is the choice for me. It's 7-2 point win, and that's it. There's the 5. I think I might have one for Sunday. I'll do an early video tomorrow in the morning if I can, and I'll put it up for Saturday. And I'll see if there's anything lurking in Keeneland or Santa Anita tomorrow night. So Mickey D for. Hopefully everybody have a good weekend. Anyone that hasn't subscribed to the channel, subscribe to the channel. We're over 1,000. Let's keep it motoring, and let's keep the party going on the bus. Over and out. Bash those bookies.